Hello everyone, this is Doe, and welcome back to the channel. I've been playing around with Magnus ever since I pulled him from Acambe's banner, and I managed to clear both the second and third stages of the latest weapon trials with him. So, without further ado, let's dive into all the awesome things Magnus brings to the table. First of all, Magnus is a defender from the Iria and Fortitude factions. His trait, Experienced General, reduces the attack and defense of all enemies within a 3-tile radius by 8%, which increases to 12% at 3 stars and 15% at 5 stars. At 5 stars, the range extends to a 4-tile radius. Additionally, this trait grants Magnus bonus physical attack equal to 20% of his physical defense at 1 star, which scales up to 40% at 4 stars. This makes him a fantastic pick for teams featuring other heavy hitters and tanks like Dantalion, Momo, Coco, and Gloria. His leader Aura, Blood and Steel enhances his team's performance by increasing attack by 10% and defense by 20%. It also reduces the damage taken by 10% when healthy, and more importantly, immunizes members from the negative effects of being in an injured state. This is an underrated aspect of his kit, as the injured state normally reduces damage dealt by 20% and increases damage taken by 20%. With this aura supporting Fortitude affiliated allies, they can consistently output high damage and maintain better survivability even when their HP drops below 70%. Now, let's take a look at some of the skills I love using with Magnus. At rank 3, he gains access to Cry of Victory, which inflicts a 20% attack reduction on all enemies within a 5-tile radius. Additionally, it boosts allies' damage by 20% for 2 turns whenever an enemy is defeated within 2 tiles of Magnus. This passive skill can be activated right before using his signature move, Mountain Breaker. Mountain Breaker deals 150% damage to a single target and inflicts Isolate before attacking, which nullifies any buffs the enemy receive from their leader aura. This makes Magnus a strong contender in PvP scenarios, especially against teams built around specific factions benefiting from powerful leader auras. His ability to disable these buffs adds a tactical edge, making him a great pick for countering those teams. Magnus also gains access to Forceful Cast at rank 3, which allows him to throw an enemy to an empty tile 3 or 4 tiles away. This move deals 70% damage to all enemies within 1 tile of the target and reduces their movement by 1 tile for 2 turns. One really fun tactic with this skill is using it to throw an explosive barrel into a group of enemies. When the barrel explodes, it deals additional damage, making this a creative and impactful way to turn the tide of battle. At rank 7, Magnus unlocks his leader Aura, Blood and Steel, as I mentioned earlier. Along with this, he gains access to Crushing Bash, which deals 120% damage and inflicts Vulnerable 2, increasing the damage taken by the enemy by 20% for 3 turns. This skill has been a game changer for me, especially in clearing the latest weapon trial stages, since I don't have Nano Will on my main account. The extra damage from Vulnerable 2 has been key to overcoming tough enemies and finishing those stages efficiently. Speaking of weaponry trials, the following footage shows my clear of Weaponry Trial 3, where I used Magnus to support Acambe by inflicting Vulnerable 2 on the Magician. Magnus's Crushing Bash was key in weakening the Magician, giving Acambe the opportunity to land even more devastating attacks. This synergy between Magnus and Acambe really highlights how well they complement each other in tougher trials. If you don't have Nano Will but happen to have Magnus on your account like I do, his Vulnerable 2 can still be a valuable asset. While it's not as strong as Nano Will's Vulnerable 3, it's definitely helpful for clearing these challenges.
この程度即戦即決だ。私の番で。そこ。
何か私にお手伝いできることは。ありがとう。ご飯だよ。感謝いたします。今助けるよ。甘く見ない。
火を見て動こう。終わらせよう。
私の番。
叩き潰してくれよ。
もう怒ったぞ。何か私にお手伝いできることは。頑張って。ありがとう。私がついています。ありがとう。
叩き潰してくれよ。
何でもして。
礼を言う。
私の番。そこ。
Now, you might have noticed in the video that I chose Feverish Attack for Magnus. However, after spending more time with him on the test server, I believe Mighty Swing is the better option. It provides him with an AoE attack for his basic attack, which would have been incredibly useful when I was trying to clear Weaponry Trial 2. For his reaction skill, I prefer Bloodthirsty Axe, as it allows Magnus to strike back whenever he's hit from the front or side, making him a solid defensive unit. Finally, Iron Chariot is a great skill when you need Magnus to absorb a physical hit. It deals damage equal to 300% of his physical defense, capped at 200% of his physical attack. Before attacking, this skill increases his physical defense by 20% of his physical attack for 2 turns. However, I haven't found myself using this skill as much, since his leader Aura, Forceful Cast, Crushing Bash, and Cry of Victory offer more utility and play a bigger role in maximizing his effectiveness in battle. Now that we've covered Magnus's core skills, let's take a look at which skills you should prioritize activating on his skill tree. I'm assuming you have all the resources needed to fully optimize Magnus, but feel free to adjust these suggestions to fit your own strategy. Rank 1. I recommend going with Resolve, which grants an additional 3% defense. Since Magnus's trait converts defense into attack, this extra defense will also enhance his offensive capabilities. However, if you're aiming for more HP instead, you can opt for Offensive Stance, but Resolve is generally the better choice for overall performance. Rank 3. Activate both Cry of Victory and Forceful Cast for their excellent utility and the additional bonuses to defense and HP. These 2 skills are core to Magnus's kit, giving him more versatility on the battlefield. Rank 5. Bloodthirsty Axe is the best choice here for its utility, providing Magnus with a reliable counterattack mechanic. If you're a big Magnus fan and want to squeeze out an additional 3% attack, you can activate both skills, but Bloodthirsty Axe is your go-to for its utility. Rank 7. Both skills at this rank offer useful boost to utility and stats, making them worth activating for a more well-rounded build. These will help Magnus function well in different roles, from tanking to damage dealing. Rank 9. Mighty Swing should be your preferred option here. Its AoE damage is valuable for hitting multiple enemies, and it also increases Magnus's defense, which in turn boosts his damage output through his trait. Rank 11. If you're fully committed to making Magnus a DPS, you should activate both skills here for the extra 3% attack boost from each node. This will help maximize his damage potential, especially if you're aiming for a more aggressive build. For Magnus's weapon, I find the Hollow Axe to be his best option. This weapon increases his defense by up to 10% and adds physical attack equal to 10% of both his physical and magical defense at the start of the battle. This synergizes perfectly with his trait, which converts his physical defense into physical attack, giving him a solid boost in both offense and defense right from the start. As for his trinket, since Magnus is a relatively fast character, equipping him with the Old Scrolls of August or Disaster Bottle can provide a tactical advantage. The Old Scrolls of August will boost your team's speed, making Magnus even more effective in controlling the pace of the battle. Meanwhile, the disaster bottle weakens the enemy, giving your team an upper hand. As for engraving resonances, there are a few options I found particularly useful for Magnus. For a more tanky build, I recommend going with Double Pentacle. This will significantly boost his defensive capabilities, making him even harder to take down in prolonged fights. If you're looking to make Magnus more resistant to magic attacks, a Pentacle and Cup Resonance is the way to go. This combination helps mitigate his weakness to magical damage, improving his overall survivability against magic-heavy teams. If you're interested in adding a bit of RNG to the mix, Double Wand Resonance could make your Magnus stronger both offensively and defensively. While a little unpredictable, it has the potential to boost his performance in surprising ways. For Tarot Whispers, I recommend the Strength Tarot with a focus on either physical defense or physical attack. This will further enhance Magnus's overall performance, especially against breakers, whom he's naturally vulnerable to. The additional stats from the Strength Tarot can help Magnus handle these matchups better. Alternatively, you can equip Magnus with the Hermit Tarot instead of Strength, as it's easier to obtain. In certain situations, like Weaponry Trial 3, the Judgment Tarot makes Magnus an even stronger Dispeller support, allowing him to counter enemy buffs more effectively. I haven't had the chance to test this in PvP yet, so let me know in the comments what you think of this tarot on him. On larger maps, you can also improve his mobility by equipping the Chariot Tarot, which helps Magnus move around more freely and get into key positions faster. This can be particularly useful in maps that require strategic movement and positioning. Now before we wrap up, let's take a quick look at how Magnus helped me beat level 70 Weaponry Trial 2. I personally found this stage challenging, especially since I don't have Nono Will, but Magnus played a key role in supporting my team's damage output while keeping the Magician's attacks under control. While he didn't completely replace Nono Will's utility, Magnus did a solid job in weakening the Magician and providing my team with the opportunity to push through and secure the clear.
感謝します。お、許しはない。ありがとさん。ぼーっとしてんじゃないよ。くらえ。心配ないから。
叩き潰してくれよ。
この土壇場で踏ん張ってこそ。指示を願います。共に戦おう。おっと。ありがとさん。
かかってこい。
この土壇場で踏ん張ってこそ。お、指示を願います。ありがとさん。許しはない。ぼーっとしてんじゃないよ。
叩き潰してくれよ。
もう怒ったぞ。おっと、指示を願います。共に戦おう。共に戦おう。ぼーっとしてんじゃないよ。かかってきな。くらえ。心配ないから。
叩き潰してくれよ。
この土壇場で踏ん張ってこそ。お、勝利はすぐそこです。ぼーっとしてんじゃないよ。あっ、まだ終わりではない。
叩き潰してくれよ。
なんでも正義の旗は倒れはしない。任せときな。肩慣らしは十分だ。あっ、
叩き潰してくれよ。
感謝します。ぼーっとしてんじゃないよ。かかってきな、くらえ。
叩き潰してくれよ。
もう怒ったぞ。感謝します。お、共に戦おう。ありがとさん。
まだまだこれからよ。
何でもって感謝します。了解。ありがとさん。うっせろ。
叩き潰してくれよ。
何でもって指示を願います。任せときな。くらえ。はっ。ごめん、やっぱ無理。
叩き潰してくれよ。
いないよ。指示を願います。やっと私の番だ。
To wrap things up, Magnus may not be the flashiest unit or the most traditional tank, but his ability to weaken enemies and provide solid team support makes him a valuable asset in both PvE and PvP. Whether you're using him to control the battlefield with forceful cast or boost your team's damage with crushing bash, Magnus brings a lot of versatility. If you're lucky enough to have him, especially if you lack Nano Will, he can definitely help you clear tougher stages like weaponry trials. This versatility has been a pleasant surprise since I off-bannered him on Acambe's banner. That said, if you're a Giga Whale, I think Magnus is worth investing in. But for everyone else, it might be more economical to wait until you off-banner him, especially with Sophia's banner coming up this week. That's all for today's video. Let me know in the comments how you're using Magnus and what builds are working best for you. Like and subscribe for more content like this. Stay cool, stay crispy. This is Dough signing off. See you in the next video.